thing where you just gotta force it. Look. I have reviewed a ton of chairs, and today we're looking at the brand new Herman Miller Vantum gaming chair. Is it worth the pickup? And how does it compare to other chairs in Herman Miller's lineup? My name's Dan. Let's get honest. As always, links to everything will be down in the description below. Please use them as it really helps this channel so much. And Herman Miller has opened up their UK affiliate program, so if you're from the UK, please use my links as well. Some folks have been trashing the Vantum, and even Steelcase seems to be getting in on the fun. I'll try to give a much more nuanced, a really in-depth look at this chair. We'll go over all of its features, I'll give my opinion on them, and then later we'll talk about whether or not I think it's worth it. Like every other Herman Miller chair, the Vantum gaming chair is backed by Herman Miller's excellent 12-year warranty. But unlike every other Herman Miller chair, this one does not come assembled. This is my friend John. He's helping me this week with assembling this chair. Now, I've assembled a ton of chairs. He has assembled none. He's the average consumer. So I wanted to see how easy or difficult it is to assemble the Vantum gaming chair. It's all you, man.
Alrighty, let's get it. What is this? I'm missing something? Okay, now this part is pretty difficult. I don't know if it's just me or... There we go. Yeah, it's very easy to assemble, very quick.
As you saw, the assembly process was super duper easy, minus the headrest. And speaking of the headrest, it's really interesting that the Vantum gaming chair has one, because I've spoken to ex-Herman Miller folks, and Herman Miller as a company doesn't really seem to believe in headrests. That's why a whole separate company is making headrests for Herman Miller chairs, but we'll talk more about the headrest later on in the video. Subscribe and hit that notification bell, because in the future, I'll be comparing this chair with other chairs in that $1,000 price point. Apart from the color of white, like this one, red or black, you cannot customize this chair whatsoever. That means you can't even pick what kind of casters you want, and Herman Miller doesn't state what kind of casters come on this chair. So I actually don't know if these are carpet casters or hard floor casters or dual floor casters. The legs are made out of plastic, and while they're not super thick, they are flat, making them an excellent option for people who like to prop their feet up onto the legs while they sit in their chair. So, features under the chair. Oh boy, all right, I have some thoughts. Starting from the left side, you get this knob that's gonna be your back tilt limiter, and you get 6 levels. So basically, if you're all the way locked, you can't move the chair whatsoever, then you get 6 levels of different angles of tilt, and this is what the max back tilt looks like. Now, you cannot lock your chair in a lean back position, and in my humble opinion, I think this is a missed opportunity. You see, I thought that this chair was supposed to be a direct response to the racing style gaming chairs out there. And because of that, I was hoping that it would cannibalize 2 of the best features found on the racing style gaming chairs.
What? Yo, this is like the best feature ever. Oh, this is really nice.
I've never flown first class, but I feel like this is what it's like.
One is the ability to lean back really far. As you can see, this doesn't lean back any further than your average office chair. And then 2, I was hoping that it would have a back tilt lock, so you could lock yourself in any tilt position. And the reason why I love that so much is because what that meant was that you could be in business mode 1 second, then you could lean back and lock yourself like in a second, and then go into relaxed chill mode. And then at any point you could just unlock it and be back in business mode again. Yes, you can technically loosen this knob so that you go into a really easy tilt back, but that requires like fidgeting, like which knob does what, and then you have to roll this back, and then if you want to go back into business mode, you got to take time to re-roll that back, and it just takes forever. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm the only one. Let me know down in the comments if I'm the only one that sees this as a missed opportunity. On the right side, there's a tab here that controls your up and down, your height adjustment. And then you've got a knob here that controls your back tilt tension, or in other words, how easy it is to lean back or how difficult it is to lean back. And this knob is really innovative, because 99% of the chairs out there, you're gonna have a knob, it spins smoothly and it spins almost indefinitely, and that's going to determine how tight or how loose that back tilt is. But on the Vantum, this thing is using a gear ratchet system. And with just 8 clicks, you go from fully loose to fully tight. That's all it takes. It was super duper fast. The other reason why I like it so much is not just its speed, but also because, you know, when you're reaching down and you're bending down and you can spin smoothly and there's no really like hard stop, I don't know, my wrist always just got like it was kind of in pain. But with this, because it's a gear ratchet system, every time you feel a ratchet, you can reset your wrist, and I just find that it's a lot nicer on my wrist. But there is a flaw with this system, and it's that even when I'm fully tight, look, this is me leaning in the chair with barely any effort whatsoever. For me personally, this is still too loose, and I wish I could make it tighter, because the way I like to sit in my chairs is I like to unlock the back and then have it pretty tight so that I'm just barely hanging in the chair, probably just about this. But with this being as lucid as it is, I can't sit like that. I'm actually much further back than I want to be, and that affects things like how I type. So when I'm typing on the computer, the reason why I like to be a little closer is because now I feel a little bit closer to my keyboard, I feel a little bit more in tune with it. But if I'm back here, then I feel like I'm just a little bit further, like I don't know what's going on, and this position makes me uncomfortable when I'm sitting and trying to do business work. Also on the right side is this handle here that controls your seat depth. And what I want you to notice is this, watch when I move the seat depth, watch what happens with the arms. You see, the arms are attached to the seat. And so when you move the seat out, the arms come out with it. This is something that does not happen on any other Herman Miller chair and does not happen on any other high-end chair. And it makes me wonder if this is a cost-saving measure on Herman Miller's part. Speaking of the seat depth on this chair is pitiful. My friend Derek had this to say about it.
What is this?
Chair. In all seriousness, I'm 5'6" and with super short legs, and in the default position, look how much space there is between the seat edge and the back of my knee. Best practice is you're supposed to be able to fit 2 fingers between the back of your knee and the seat to get adequate quad and thigh support, and so you don't cut off circulation to the rest of your leg. My friend Jonathan, who's 5'10", had this to say about the situation.
I'm 5'10". I would like a little bit more support on my legs. I feel like that would be more comfortable.
This is really frustrating because the thoracic support, the headrest, meant that this chair could potentially be an option for taller folks who are desperately wanting neck and upper back support. But the super shallow seat means that this is probably going to be a deal breaker for anyone over 5'10". And there's more bad news. If you scooch the chair all the way out and then sit all the way back, you can feel the gap, and if you're taller, like 5'10" or taller, you can feel this gap on your butt. It will feel like your butt's kind of hanging off the chair. Looking at the fabric on the seat, it is using a rough fabric here, and it's pretty scratchy. When I use more sensitive skin, like on my wrist, and rub it on, it does get annoying. So if you have sensitive skin, that's something to be mindful about. Also, the cushion that's found in here is a giant dense sponge, but when you compare the materials on a comparably priced chair like the Herman Miller Sail, not only is the Sail's fabric a lot softer, a lot smoother, but also the cushion inside, while it doesn't look as thick, it is much more premium. It's got more of a memory foam feel. It's got a slow bounce back rather than just like a dense sponge. Now, that doesn't mean that the foam in here is bad by any means, but this is the kind of foam that I've seen in $400 to $500 Chinese chairs, and it's not quite the foam I was expecting in a high-end Herman Miller chair. Herman Miller says that their chair can support up to 350 pounds. The arms on this chair can go up and down, and then they can slide in and out and forward and back, but they do not pivot whatsoever, and the padding on this chair is not great. It's pretty darn stiff. One of the good things that it has going for it is that unlike a lot of the steel case chairs, these arms do not rattle. The backrest on this chair is using a fabric mesh, not their higher quality mesh found on like the Herman Miller Aeron, and it's pretty soft, and even at the edges, it's still pretty soft. I rolled my sleeve all the way up and rubbed my tricep on the edges to see if it would annoy it. It wasn't that bad at all. Now, I will say that this fabric mesh is a dust picker upper. Holy moly, I've had this chair only for a few days now, and you've got a ton of dust on here. And I will say that while the edges are super hard and can hurt you if you run into it, you do get plenty of space in the chair to be able to spread open that chest before you run into any frame, so it's well designed. The lumbar support on this chair is using like this double pad structure. It kind of looks like the lumbar on the Herman Miller Aeron, except the one on the Aeron I believe has padding on the end of it, whereas this is literally just flexi plastic. Good news is that you don't really feel plastic digging into your back, but when you have it on maximum tension, you do feel extra support in your back in a good way. Two downsides about this. One is not that big of a deal. If you're wearing pants like I am, jeans here, and you've got like a belt loop, one that runs right down the middle like I do, and you've got this on maximum tension, it will dig into you and it feels really painful. Easy solution, just loosen the back lumbar a little bit and you're good to go. The second one is a bigger problem. You see, this lumbar system feels and looks kind of cheap. You see, This knob here, when you're at full maximum tension, for some reason, you can just keep spinning this knob forward and it doesn't feel very good. Like it feels like it shouldn't be allowed to do this. And then second is that when you look at the actual mechanism, you realize that all the gears and the teeth, everything is made out of plastic, which has me worried about the longevity of the system. Good thing it comes with a 12-year warranty, I guess. The thoracic support up in that upper back area is also using a double plastic thing. There's no adjustments whatsoever. When you sit in the chair, it's like a hardly there mechanism. You barely feel it, which is a good thing, but you do feel a little extra support in that upper back area. The headrest on this chair can go up and down, kind of, and it can swivel. I say kind of because look how much force is needed. Oh my God, I feel like it's gonna take my hands off. The amount of force needed to adjust this thing up and down is ridiculous. It also swivels up and back, and this is less ridiculous. This is much easier to do. Now, the fact that this requires so much force to adjust up and down is not only bad designed, but it's also potentially dangerous. You see, I've sat on this chair a few times, and obviously to get your headrest in the right position, you wanna make sure that you're sitting there so it fits in the right position. Well, because it takes so much force to rise it up and down, sometimes while pushing it down, it just did it again. When it finally comes down, oh my God, muscles point. I'm not making this up, guys. This is, ow, ow, ow. I'm not making this up. The amount of pressure you need to push this thing down in this position is ridiculous. And just now when I pushed it down, it slammed into the back of my neck, and it's done that a few times now. That's the problem with these kinds of plastic mechanisms. This is what you see in a lot of Chinese chairs, right? This thing where you just gotta force it. Look, that just happened. My headrest just broke on me. So yeah, I really don't love this thing. Now, the curvature on this thing, I'm gonna keep going, okay? The curvature on this thing is pretty good. It fits into the fold of your neck pretty well. It's using the same scratchy fabric as the seat. I'm a little flustered right now because this thing actually just broke. When you sit in the chair, I feel like it's got a decent position on the back of your neck, and it's not too far forward. I still wish it had an X-axis adjustment so I can push it out of the way because I kind of don't love it when I'm sitting up, and I much prefer to come out and alive when I'm in a lean back position. This is one of the benefits of Atlas headrest on the Aeron. It gives you an X and a Y axis adjustment. And you might be asking, like, if you don't break yours like I did, when you adjust the headrest up and down, you might be wondering like, well, Dan, like once you've adjusted it, are you really gonna adjust it again? When you're sitting in your chair and you're in business mode, right, like this, and then you lean back, well, inevitably the headrest is going to be slightly higher up on your head, and you're gonna want it lower just a tiny bit to sit in that neck, or a little higher so it sits actually on your head. And to make that fine-tuning adjustment is gonna be near impossible with this headrest. Also, I was hoping that because the profile on this thing is so small, I was hoping that you get a lot more room if you're wearing headphones, but it's just like every other headrest where if you're wearing headphones and you turn, you're gonna crash into it really quickly. Also, I tried to remove the headrest, not this. I tried to pull the entire mechanism out, but I wasn't able to do it. I was pulling on it pretty hard. It seems like in order to do it, if you're able to do it, it's gonna require a pretty big fight. So credit where credit is due, I actually managed to fix this. I found these two pieces, they look like bananas with divots in them. I clipped it back on and pushed it in, and nothing snapped, nothing was broken in that thing you just saw. So whatever steroid plastic Herman Miller is using, it clearly works, and it's clearly break resistant. So props to Herman Miller. Still doesn't change the fact that I don't like this headrest though. For $1,000, is the Herman Miller Vantum worth the pickup? Well, it depends. I'm a chair reviewer. I've reviewed a ton of $1,000 chairs, and every $1,000 chair has its share of issues, just like the Vantum does. But relatively speaking, again, relative to other $1,000 chairs, the Herman Miller Vantum is one of the stronger contenders in that price point, assuming that you are under 5'10". If you're over 5'10", in my humble opinion, look elsewhere. Now, on the other hand, most of my viewers out there, most of you have probably not even contemplating spending over $100 on a chair. So when you hear that there is a $1,000 chair, your expectations are gonna be sky high, as they should be, because $1,000 is a lot of money. And for you, if you're expecting this near perfect chair, the Herman Miller Vantum is probably not gonna be the right fit. You're probably gonna find a lot of complaints with it, as I did. And I think there are other chairs that are better in that $1,000 price point, such as the Steelcase Amiya, which you can find my review of here. But how does the Herman Miller Vantum chair stack up against Herman Miller's own lineup of chairs? Well, in my humble opinion, I think the Herman Miller Embody is still the king of chairs, but it's almost twice the price of the Vantum. So I wanna compare this with a similarly priced chair, the Herman Miller Sail. I've already kind of done this a little bit, but what's interesting is that the Sail still seems to be the better overall chair. It has more features like the forward tilt. The arms are better because not only does it have softer padding, but the arms can also tilt inwards, making it better for shorter people or for when you're actually trying to type. It's also got things like a better seat pad, a softer seat cushion, and most importantly, the seat depth comes out a lot further than on the Vantum. And so I think if you don't need a headrest and you're not super duper short, I think the Sail is still the better pickup over and against the Vantum. Please use my links, subscribe, and stay honest.